Well, hello, 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 everyone. How is everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Now, this could be an interesting stream. For one, I am competing with the Microsoft Ignite event stream. So I don't blame you if you would rather watch that content. Furkan, how you doing, my friend? Thank you for joining. Vlad, good to see ya. Hope everyone's weekend was excellent. I just worked on my backyard all weekend. Nothing fantastically fun for me. However, I did save myself a lot of money by doing some work myself. I don't know if everyone's aware, but I've been having a pretty big backyard landscape project going on all summer long. And some things are just easy, but just take some time to do. They're pretty expensive. So I decided to do some work myself. Code Stencil, good to see ya. Hello from Brazil. Wow, Brazil. Bertuzzi, good to see you again. Lexi, good to see you as always. Thanks for joining. Is anyone watching the Microsoft Ignite stuff? I was watching it earlier, but I had to go eat breakfast and then get my room set up for the stream, so I didn't get to watch a ton. Oh yeah, Alexi's in Russia. You know, I normally don't go to Ignite. I haven't been to Ignite. I used to go to, so I go to every build. I've been to every Microsoft build event since they started. I think the very first one was in Anaheim, like 7 or 8 years ago. It was like, been to every single one of them. Right. Oh, Furkan was watching, then switched. Code Stencil switched over from the VS Code tip section. Sweet. But yeah, so I haven't been to the Ignite event since they named it Ignite. It used to be, oh, what was it? I can't remember the name of the event because it's been so long. But there used to be like two big events. You had Microsoft Build, and then you had, what the heck is the name of that thing? It used to be in Orlando all the time. I don't remember the name of it, but it basically got rebranded into Ignite. It's going to come to me in midstream. I'm just going to be coding, and then all of a sudden, midstream, I'm like, oh, that's the name of that event. Vlad, I watched .NET Conf, that's enough. Catch up reading newsfeed tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to wait till all these sessions are posted online and go check out what I want to see. Also, I don't know if you remember last stream, I was having some internet issues. Well, it turns out it was my modem. I needed to be rebooted. I was just dropping tons of packets for some reason, and yeah, it's like I rebooted my modem and then all was good. So thanks for the tip on that one. I forgot who gave me that tip, but that was definitely it. So today I'm going to jump into the unknown. I want to start learning React. Okay. So Infragistics, my company, has a number of React controls, and in order for me to even talk about them or talk intelligently about them, I should probably understand React itself. If you've followed my career at all for any point in time, you know I'm not a strong web person. I'm a hardcore desktop person. And so the web is just kind of like crazy to me. Like, why would you develop for the web? It's nuts. I started learning Angular, and the stuff that web devs go through to write a basic app blows my mind. And I don't know, maybe they've just been doing it so long they don't see how painful it is. It's kind of one of those things where, you know, kind of like when you write, you have a bug in your app and you have a workaround for it. Well, it's no longer a bug. You just always do the workaround. You never think about it again, right? It's kind of the same thing. It's like you're writing web apps and it's so painful that you're just used to it and it's not considered painful anymore. But then you get a guy like me coming from the desktop into this web space, and oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Anyways, I've heard some interesting things about React. You know, I talked to a lot of people about Angular versus React and all this stuff. It's like people say, oh, I like React better because I'm not trapped in this framework of Angular. But then I'm like, well, can't you use React and an Angular application? It's like, yeah, but you know, hey, React's just better. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know about React, so maybe I should learn. Yeah, Code Stencil, yeah, WinDev, transitioning to web has been painful. It is extremely painful. I know what the WWW stood for. It's the Wild Wild West, right? That's what it stands for. It's ridiculous. However, you know, I've heard all this talk about React, so I'm gonna jump in and see how hard it is for a web newbie like myself, a desktop guy, to pick it up. Because I heard it's actually quite different from normal web dev. At least the standard web development frameworks that are out there now. I hear React is like vastly different. It's like a complete mindset change of how you have to think. So, without further ado, let's start figuring this stuff out. And I guess the best way to start figuring this out is let's do some Googling. Getting started with React. This is where we're all gonna start. Okay. So they got docs. They got docs. reactjs.org. Getting started. Try React. Okay, so it's been designed for gradual adoption. You can use as little or much React as you need. Sounds good. Online play. I don't care about online playgrounds. I don't want online playground. I want to create an app. You can add React, create a new app. Okay. I don't care about samples. I want file new. React for beginners. Oh, come on. React for designers. Come on. Yes. Practical to learn by doing. Tic-Tac-Toe game in React. Okay. So I'm gonna click on this. I'm trying to find advanced API, glossary, stay informed. Okay. So we're gonna start there. Tutorial. I guess we're gonna be building a tic-tac-toe game. Okay, what are we building? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. This is what we all do. Don't pretend you actually read that stuff. You scroll down until you see some code and you start there. We all do it. I know it. Write code in the browser. No, I don't want to write code in the browser. Yes, this. Okay, I have Node.js installed. Dan, hey! Good to see you. Are you still abroad, or did you make it back stateside? Okay, so follow the instructions to create a React app to make a new project. Okay, so I have Node. Lily, hey! Thanks for joining. Good to see you. Today we are trying to learn React from scratch. And so far, I'm going to tell you that the getting started docs needs improving, because right now I'm just trying to do a file new. It took me to this tutorial, but I'm still not at file new. It keeps linking me off to other pages. It's a little, yeah, I mean, come on. So make sure I have Node, but now I have to go to another page to make a new project. So let's go to this page. Okay, learn React. Okay. You'll need to have Node, yep, to create. Okay, okay. So let's do this. I have my little dev branch here. And if you don't know the little trick to launch a console from your file explorer, just click in the top and type CMD and it will open up your command prompt right in that directory. Sweet, huh? All right, so let me shrink this down. Now, NPX, I've never... Oh, okay, so NPX is the runner tool that comes with NPM. What version do I have? 6.9. Okay, so I have 6.9. Dan. Should really be rad like the getting started docs for Prism. Exactly. Exactly. If you've looked at the Prism documentation, it's right into it. File new, you're going. This, I'm all over the place. Okay, so NPX, I guess that's kind of like if you're creating an Angular app, that's kind of like the NG, right? The real Brian Lagunas. Good to see you. Good to see you again. Okay, so NPX. Oh, that's wordy. Create React. Whoops. Create React dash app. That is a. We'll call this my React app. Okay. This is similar to Angular. This is similar. And creating an Angular app, I would be doing ng new. I wish they would kind of be the same, like npx new. That'd be nice. Unless npx is something else. Oh, it's just a package runner tool. Okay, so this is not... Maybe this is not a React CLI like Angular has, right? Real Brian Lagunas. Other Brian, have you used Vue.js at all? No, I have not used Vue.js yet. There are so many freaking web frameworks out there. It's like, which one did you pick? What do you spend your time on? Because I could just imagine if you're trying to learn this for like a job. Like maybe you're new to the job market. Maybe you're a new developer, and you're trying to decide like where you want to take your career. How would you make that decision? With the Angular and the React and the Vue. Then you have the old school stuff with the Bootstrap. No, that's something different. Bootstrap is like theming stuff. But then you have Angular material. And then you have normal material. And then what? There's Knockout.js. And there's like, there's just like all this crazy stuff out there. Oh, Blazor. You got Blazor. Like, I feel bad for web devs, I swear. All right. So let's CD. And I called this my-react app. And npm start. All right, let's see what we got. Yes, allow. Okay, edit source at.js. Okay, we have a React app. Sweet. So the real Brian Lagunas, I find it a bit easier to use than React. Has a great material design UI framework called Vuetify. Vuetify. Yes, Dan, it's like Baskin Robbins. You got more than 31 flavors. Vlad, new to web and don't understand why there's so many different frameworks. Yeah, I don't either. Actually, I think a new framework came out by the time we wrote this. Like, I just typed that. I bet there's a new framework out. Okay, so this is great. We have an app, but I don't want to be working in Notepad. So I'm going to try something. Can I... I'm just going to close this. I'm going to close that. I want to try something. I want to use Visual Studio Code. Nope, not there. Here. So let's try opening this with code. All right. Now, npm start. We should get the same thing, but now I should be within my development environment. Okay, perfect. Yes. All right, so we will leave that running. And I think we're done right here. So let's go back to our tutorial. Delete all files in the source folder and of the new... Why would I want to do that? Okay, well we're gonna listen. We're gonna follow it, word for word. Delete all. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna make sure I read that right. Delete all folders in the source folder. Okay, I'm gonna do it. There's a lot of folders in there. It makes me nervous, but I'm gonna do it. So we'll start here. Delete. 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 Everything. Okay, that's everything right to there. Delete. The source folder is gone. So I have a feeling our app is broken, so I'm just gonna close that because it's broken. So now what we have to do is add a file named index.css and index.js. Okay. Oops. I don't want to scream at my code. Index.css. Index.js. Okay. Add these three. You know what? I need to find. Let's do this. Can I just dock that over the side and then. Here we go. This is better. This is better. Now I can follow along. All right. Add these three lines to the top. Import. React from React. Semicolon. Okay, so we have a DOM. I see a React DOM element. Oh, React DOM. So far, this is very Angular-ish, right? This is very similar to an Angular, except in Angular you would do like you would have a brace like this. Whoops. You would do that. Okay, well, you may still be able to do that. I don't know. And then port dot slash index.css. All right, now if you run npm start the project. Okay. npm start. Let's see what happens. Okay, well, we don't have anything in our index file, like no text, right? Alexi. Oh, question about Prism. Has Prism a standard function for priority module loading? I mean, can I load DLL module prisms from one directory in the order set by the user? I'm trying to understand the question. Here, let me pop this up real quick so everyone can see it. Little sidetrack here. Standard function priority module loading. Can I load the DLL Prism modules from one directory in the order set by the user? Yes! Yes, you can. There is there's an attribute with an order. I've never used it. This was before my time. But yes, there's an actual order property on an attribute that could specify the order in which the modules load based on an index. Yes, that's possible. I've seen it done before. But I think it only works with the directory module catalog. Okay. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna put an H1 in here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is a JS file. I don't have HTML. What's the name of the attribute? Go check out the docs. I don't remember the name of the attribute. Look at the WPF legacy docs. Look under modularity. It should be in there somewhere. Huh, Dan, you love how I have a fake background to make it look like you work in an office. Yeah, not in your home office away from other human beings. Yeah. Well, I was actually going to change my background before this to like Bali, you know, like a resort in Bali or something. Change it up a little bit. Okay, so we ran it. We have a blank page. Well, that's because we don't have any HTML at all. This is a JavaScript file and a CSS. Okay, so we got that. Okay, what is React? Declarative. Oh, efficient. I love how they put efficient. Flexible JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Lets you compose complex UIs from small. Okay. React is few, but we'll start with the React.component subclasses. Oh my god. Really? I'm gonna have to do this? You're joking, right? Okay. If this is how React works, I'm not seeing the hype. I'm gonna tell you right now. If this is how it works, I'm sorry, but I do not see the hype. Because this is ridiculous. If I want to write HTML, let me just write HTML and not return it in some function. Oh my gosh. The real Brian Lagunas. That's why I use Vue.js. Much nicer syntax, yeah. Hey, purple and pineapples! That's how everything works in JSX. JavaScript mixed with HTML. Yeah, but even this isn't like, this is horrible. So far, I prefer Angular. Because there's at least a, you know, I can have an HTML file. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to refrain my judgments until I actually start writing something. Okay, so components. So, okay. React is component based, just like Angular, just like Blazor. We have this concept of components. I got that. Takes in parameters called props. Ooh, well, that's probably important. And returns a hierarchy of views to display via the render method. Let's see, render. Alexi, I don't think it's called priority. I think it's called sort order. That's what you're looking for. It's called sort order. Okay, render method returns a description of what you want to see on the screen. React takes the description and displays the result. Wait a minute. Is it saying that this isn't what? This is just a description of what I want to render? It takes that description, displays the result. In particular, render returns a React element, which is a lightweight description of what to render. Most React developers use a special syntax called JSX. Aha! Purple and pineapples, that's what you're talking about right there, JSX. Which makes these structures easier to write. The div syntax is transformed at build time to React.createElement div. Oh, so you don't have to do it this way, which I think it may be easier doing it this way, looking at the two samples. I can also say create element, React.createElement. Okay, hopefully I'm not going to get into that just yet. JSX comes with the full power of JavaScript. I don't want to... Nope, I don't care about it in my browser. Yes, okay, open this. Starter code is based. By inspecting the code, you'll notice we have 3 React component square. Wait, so what's my instruction? If you're going to work on this tutorial in your browser, open this code in a new tab. If you're going to work on the locally, instead open in your project folder. You have already touched this file and set up. Okay, I have it open. Don't tell me I have to click this. Really? Wait a minute. What do I do? What the hell? Okay, see, this tutorial, I don't like it right now because I'm following it step by step. Do I need to copy this? No, because this is something different. Dan, by the way, are you thinking sort orders on module info? Because there's nothing there for ordering. No, it's not module info. It's a it's an attribute that you add to modules. It may be a module attribute, actually. I haven't used the feature myself, so that's why I'm not 100% sure where it lives, but I'm pretty sure it's called sort order. And I think it's on a module attribute, I think. It's in the docs. It's in there somewhere. Okay. Already, this tutorial sucks. Because I followed them all the way up to up here. Got it. I'm ready. Now they lost me. I thought we were going to create an app together. I thought we were going to walk through and create a simple app. Go through an exercise. But so far what I get is this starter code that I think it wants me to copy and paste. Okay, let's copy and paste. I don't like this. I don't know what any of this stuff does. But let's copy and paste. Okay, we have something. Hold on. I bet I have to take this. Oh my god. I'm not going to learn anything doing this. I'm sorry. That's just, my brain doesn't work. I can't just copy and paste and learn. I have to write code. But we do have that now. We have that. That's good. What the? I didn't mean to do that. Okay, what else? Do I need anything else? I hope I don't need to do anything else. Okay. That's not fun. How do I know what any of this stuff does? By inspecting the code, you'll notice we have 3 React components. Okay. Yes, we do. Actually, is there a Control-Shift-P format? Okay. Okay, we have a square, a board, and a game. So here's our square, here's our board, and here's the game. See, they need instructions in here that says copy and paste this into your index.js folder. If that's what you want me to do, tell me to do it. The square components, okay, renders a single button on the board, renders 9 squares. The game component renders a board with placeholder values, which we'll modify later. There are currently no interactive components. Okay, so let's look at this. Square. This is a button. Class name square, so I have to look at my index and find... I mean, what is it? Format document again? I just had it up here. Shift-Alt-F. Okay, that's why I didn't get it. Square, right here. Got it. Okay, then we have a focus. Square. Body. Okay, I think I'm kind of understanding that. There's our board. So we have a function called render square. I, whatever I is, return square. But what the hell is square? Is that this? Can I... So if I create a square component, can I reference it with a slash square? Does this explain anything to me? Okay, let's go. To get our feet wet, let's try passing some data from our board component to our square component. Oh! Oh, okay. Down here. It's just poorly... Maybe I don't have to copy and paste all this. Let me get rid of this. Yes. Delete, 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 delete. I want to delete that too. Okay. Yes, typing definitely. All right, so we need a class, board, extends, react.component. Perfect. Now we have this method called render square. Okay. I wish they would tell me what I is, but I guess that's JavaScript for you. Or is that JavaScript? I don't know. That has to be JavaScript, right? I am not strong in JavaScript. Return square value equals my little mustaches there. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm in this function, and I don't have to surround this in like quotes or anything like this. I don't have to like, it knows automatically. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, now we got to create a square. Whoops. Class square extends React.component. Now this has a render method. And return. Okay, so if I'm returning a lot of stuff, it looks like I have to button. Last name equals square. This dot props. Okay, are they gonna explain? So props must be. Props has to be a property on the component itself. No, I do have to copy and paste all that mess. I'm just modifying. Really? This tutorial blows. That, yep, there's the to-do. Okay. Yep, I didn't actually... Never mind, I do need that. Okay. I do not... What the heck? Oh, that's what happened. I'm not a fan of this tutorial. That means I do have to copy all this stuff in here. Alright, go back. Dang it. Purple and pineapples. Whatever it is, you passed as value becomes this props.value. Oh, really? Okay, so let's go back up here to square. Because this is the to-do. This dot props dot value. What the? Oh, didn't we do that? Close that. Shift Alt F. I gotta remember that. I'm so bad at that. Okay, so we did that, and then square value equals I. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. But where? Render square. Props that. What the heck is props that value? Square. Okay. Oh! Purple and apples. Purple and apples. I almost said pineapples. Purple pineapples. No, that is. Is it? Oh yeah, purple pineapples. I thought it was purple and apples. Oh my god, they should have a song after your name. Purple and apples, purple pineapples. Ah, got it. Okay. So we have a square. Now I understand what you were saying, purple pineapples. You were saying that this.props.value is I. This value, we're setting this value here, right? And when we set this value, we're setting the value off of props. Connection made. The brain, it's firing. I got it. Thank you. Thank you, purple pineapples. Got it. So we created this attribute, right? This value out attribute off a square. We defined it, and now props. This value is the props dot value. It's the same thing. That's this attribute. Okay. Got it. And so could I create like any, like I could say my value equals whatever. Okay, I can't do that obviously. Well, I could do this. Ah, not X. So used to writing X. I. And then here. My value. Ah! That's how it works. Lots of magic, I will tell you that. There's some magic there. You know, people yell at me because dependency injection has a lot of magic. Well, they would be freaking out if they saw this. Because that is straight up magic. Okay. That makes sense. I made the connection. So yes, now we have 0 through 8. So I just passed a prop. Woohoo! Where's this happening though? So we have this render square of I. Let me come down here. Oh, they're hard coded. Render square, render square, render square. Oh. Okay. So instead of doing something like square value equals 0, right? Instead of doing that for each one of those, we create a method called render square, which we just pass in the value. Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, this is very heavily component based. Lots of you know what this reminds me of? Reminds me of T4 templates a little bit. What's that? Siplax? Siplax. Thanks for the follow. I might have said your name wrong. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, this reminds me of T4 a lot because you can have your C# code, right? And you call those methods within your template to render out other visual elements if you need to. So yeah, okay. So let's fill the square with an X when we first click on it. So Copa, thanks for following. We are learning React today. Learning React. And I kind of wish this tutorial was a little better written, but so far so good. Okay, so we want to make an interactive component. So I kind of see how this is working now. M. Holloway, I love that. Love that follow alert, by the way. Hey, I custom made that. Custom made. I'm proud of myself on that one. Okay, so when we click the button tag, oh, we want to change the button tag that is returned from the square component's render function. Oh my god. This is ugly. Like for real, this is ugly, really? Okay, I'm gonna write it. Vlad, is there IntelliSense in VS Code for any JS frameworks, or do you have to type everything out correctly? Well, I know there's IntelliSense for Angular, because I write a little bit of Angular, and I have gotten IntelliSense on it. And I have IntelliSense on this HTML element. See this on click? Equals. Looks like we have to do, oh my god. Okay, I have to do this. Because this is, this is ugly. Like for real is ugly. Alert. All right. So what we did is when we click on it, we get the, we can just show an alert. So it's interactive now. Hey, there we go. Okay, not bad, not bad. To save typing and avoid the confusing behavior of this, we will use the arrow function syntax for event handlers here and further below. Oh, okay, now you tell me. Well, this is, at least I know what's going on here. I guess we could do... No, I kind of like what I have better, actually. I kind of like this better. It's more structured. Because if we didn't have this... Because then it'll look like this. Right? And I don't want it all in line like that. I don't know, I kind of like the function approach better. You know, in Angular I can do this. That's a little better for me. A little better. Does it still work though? Games Make! How you doing there? Yep, still works. Still works. Oh, okay. I am learning React. It's not as painful at this moment. It's still a little weird, but I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Okay, as the next step, square component. Remember that I got clicked. Oh, state. We're using state now. React components can have state by setting this.state in their constructors. This.state should be considered as private to a React component that's defined in. Store the current value. Okay, so add a constructor to the class. I can do that. And it looks like we have IntelliSense for that. And props. Looks like we have to call super props. Super props. And this dot state equals all right, so I'm assuming this is essentially creating. Can I create more? Whoops. Yes, I can. Okay. I could totally do that. M. Holloway, I prefer the format you have now and enclose it. Yeah, me too. I like that. So it looks like I can add whatever state I want to this. So we're going to initialize the state with some values, or with some, not values, but with properties that are going to represent our state, I'm assuming. I'm just getting a little confused. I wish they would have named this differently. Where it says value and then props.value. I think they should have named that something else because I don't think this is the same. I think these are different, like different instances. I bet props has its own value and this.state's going to have a value, but they're different things. They should have named that something else. Actually, I'm going to name it something else. I'm going to call it value state. Just so I can keep it separate. I don't want to get confused. And this will also prove if it's right or wrong. So in JavaScript classes, you need to always call super when defining the constructor of a subclass. All React component classes have a constructor. Okay, so this is important. We must always do that when we create a constructor for our component. That's a must-have. Got it. Okay, so now we're going to change the square's render method. Okay, so we're going to change this to this.state. .value state. What? This.state. Okay. Then on the onClick, this.sets this event handler set state It looks like we're going to have an array here. This is going to be value state. X. Okay. It's kind of weird, but all right. Put the class name and onClick on separate lines. Oh. Oh, that's better. Okay, that's good. Why would I want to do that? Yeah, so by calling this.setState from an onClick handler in the square's render method, we will tell React to re-render that square whenever its button's clicked. After the update, square's this.state.value will be X, so we'll see X on the game board. If you click on any square, X should show up. Let me see this. I'm not getting anything. Oh, I get it now. Refresh. So, okay. But then that means we don't have to do this render square stuff. Right? We're not using the props here at all. We're not using the props anymore. We're using our value state property off the set state. So when I click on this, we're setting the state. And when that happens, I guess a change notification is made, and then this return will redraw. Right? It's going to redraw this button. Is that what happens? Does it redraw the button? Or is it like a change notification where we just change just this section? Purple pineapples. Yeah, you don't need the numbers right now. Not sure where they're going with this. Huh. Yeah, it's confusing. I don't know why they have that either. Okay. Do they explain how this... I want to know how this is working. Okay. Let me read this again slowly. So by calling this.setState, got it. This will tell React to re-render that square. Ah, so whenever setState is called, it's calling render again. This whole method is called again. So it's not updating just this portion. Kind of like in C#, you know, we had the iNotify property changed, and we make a change to a value. Just that value is updated, that's re-rendered. In this case, it looks like this entire render method is called whenever setState is called, and everything is redrawn. Yeah, it's okay. And when you call setState in a component, React automatically updates the child components inside of it too. Oh wow, purple and pineapples. A re-render can only be triggered if a component's... Oh, everyone has to read this. Everyone has to read this comment. Oh, copy pasted from somewhere. Still, a re-render can only be triggered if a component state has changed. Yes, the state can change from a props change or from a direct set state change. The component gets updated state and React decides if it should re-render the component. Unfortunately, by default, React is incredibly simplistic and basically re-renders everything all the time. Aha! I was right. My assumption was correct. It re-renders the whole freaking thing every time you change something. That means if I had, according to this, if I had components inside of this component, all those child components right here, child components, would also be re-rendered. All the way down the chain. Got it. Okay. The React DevTools extension for Chrome and Firefox lets you inspect React component tree. Ooh. React DevTools lets you check the props and state of your... Okay. I'm in Edge Chromium. Let's check something out. I want to find an extension. How do you get an extension? Where's my... Is there not a search here? Can you not search? Are you kidding me? You can't search? Or is there just not that many to search? Looks like alphabetical order. Okay, so it doesn't... No React for Edgium. However, if I open up my Chrome... Let's go... More tools. Extensions. React. What? Okay. It told me there were React Dev Tools. Maybe I have to click on it. Yes, I do. Okay. Let's do this. Copy that in there. I'm actually curious because this is Chromium. I wonder if that would actually install. Yeah, you can now add extensions from the Chrome Web Store. Ooh, allow. Add to Chrome. Add extension. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, that's on. It's on. Your Ducks TV, Vue.js. You're the second person to bring up Vue. Looks like I'm gonna have to learn Vue after I learn this. All right. So I should be able to hit F12. Is that where these are at? Maybe I have to like restart. I'm not sure where to find those actually. Okay, right click on any element in the page and click inspect. And the React tab. Okay, so there's a React tab. So let's right click, inspect. I don't have a React tab. Do I have to close this? Okay, I'm gonna copy this because I don't want to lose it. Copy. I'm gonna close this out. Close that out. Paste. Local host. Oh, not Dart42. It's it was what 3,000. Vlad, or write your own. What could go wrong? Brian.js. There you go. Inspect. Ah, here we go. Components. Sweet. This will be handy, I am sure. Let me just resize that just a tad. Okay, back to the tutorial. Yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Did that, did that. We are down here. We're down here. Vanilla.js. That sounds like a real JavaScript framework games make. It really does. I bet that's a real one, isn't it? Vanilla.js. I bet there's a Chocolate.js. Pumpkin Spice.js. 'Tis the season for Pumpkin Spice.js. Okay, however, there are a few extra steps to get it working. Wait, what? I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't have to log in or register, confirm my email, fork, change view, then choose debug mode, and the new tab that opens the dev tools should now have a React tab. I didn't have to do any of that. I just saw components and profiler. Okay. Completing the game. We now have the basic building blocks for a Tic-Tac-Toe game. Yeah, but you didn't explain to me what this does. We didn't even talk about this. And that's what I don't like about this tutorial. It didn't walk me through every step. I'm assuming, looking at this, React DOM.render game. I don't know why you have to say document.getElement by ID. This is probably doing the actual rendering in this JavaScript file. And this is the getElementID root. Yeah, so, and this is our game board. This is this right here, game. Render our board. Yep. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah, so currently each square component maintains the game state. To check for a winner, we'll maintain the value of each of the 9 squares in one location. We may think that the board should just ask each square for the square state, although this approach is possible in React. We discourage it because the code becomes difficult to understand. I believe that. Totally believe that. So to collect data from multiple children, or to have 2 child components communicate with each other, you need to declare a shared state in their parent component. In this case, it looks like the parent component is the board. Lifting state into a parent component is common when React components are refactored. Okay, so let's try it. Yes, I was right. We are on the board. Okay. So we need to add a constructor. Doc27. You usually only have a single React DOM.render call for a given spa. Oh, so you're saying that this right here basically only exists on the index page. You won't call this on every JavaScript file you have. Is that what you're saying? So that means I'm assuming... Actually, something else you just said. Is React a spa framework? Because I didn't get that from reading the description. Is React a spa framework? I thought it was a... I didn't know that. I didn't get single page application out of this. Okay, well, let's go back to creating our constructor. Constructor. We probably need props because I remember that. We have to call super props because I remember that too. Okay, now we're gonna create something called squares. We're gonna store this state. Yep. So we're gonna create a squares array. Oh my god, this JavaScript kind of sucks. Does anyone know if I can use TypeScript with React? That would be so much better. So much better if I could do that. I'm gonna research that after this tutorial. Oh, so Doc27. React can certainly do spas, MPAs, or a whole lot besides. I'm not really the person to give you a comprehensive answer to that, though. You know what? We're all learning together here. This is literally the first line of React code I've ever written in my life. So I have a lot to learn. So we're creating an array of squares and storing it in the state of the board parent component. So now we will fill the board in later. With this .state.squares array will look something like this. Okay. So the board's render square method. Okay, yep, it looks like that. That's exactly what it looks like. In the beginning, we pass the value prop down from the board to show numbers. Okay. In a previous step, we replaced the numbers with an X mark. Yeah, we're ignoring this value. Now, we will use the prop passing mechanism again. We will modify the board to instruct each individual square about its current value, X, O, or null. We have already defined the squares array. Yep. And we will modify the board. Okay. Well, this looks not so bad. This .state squares index of I. So what we're doing here, mounts, and you can do TypeScript with React. Yes! I'm doing that next. Because this JavaScript, look at this. Ugh. Vomit. Makes me sick. Okay, so it looks like when we render this square, we're creating a square and the value is equal to, wait a minute. Oh, okay, yeah. Got it. So we're storing the value of the squares array index of I, which is this square. Ugh. Got it. So for these 3 lines, where are we up here? Oh, right here. So these 3 lines, right? This is a square. That's a square. That's a square. We're storing that inside of this value. Okay. Each square will now receive a value prop that will either be X, O, or null. Got it. Next, we need to change what happens when a square is clicked. Oh, but... So instead, we'll pass down a function from the board to the square. And we'll have square call that. Oh my god, really? When a square is clicked. Are you kidding me? Alright, let's do this. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. On click. This dot handle click I. Okay. We split the return element into multiple lines for... Okay, blah, blah, blah. Got it. So now we're going to handle this. Okay. Now we're passing down 2 props from board to square. Value and on click. Oh, wait a minute. So this is not an event handler like we have here. This is not the same thing. This button, this is actually an event on this button. But here is not an event. This is another attribute. We're adding this to the props, right? So if I said this dot props dot on click, there it is right there. That's what that did. That's confusing. That's really confusing. Okay, so make the following changes to square. So where's square? Square's up here. Replace this dot state value with this dot props dot value in the square's render method. Like that. Replace this dot set state with this dot props dot on click. What the heck? Okay. But on click took an I. What? Okay, so delete the constructor because we no longer need this. This is dedicated to all you crazy MFers that I be seeing at every single con. Okay. Make sure this looks right. That's a ludicrous reference. OnClick props dot onClick. Props dot value. When the square is clicked, the on-click function provided by the board is called. Okay, but we didn't add that function yet. We just called handle click. We didn't define handle click anywhere. On-click handlers defined in the render. Yep. Okay, yeah, we have not defined the handle click yet. Well, let's do that. Yeah, see, this is exactly what I was just getting to. I was pointing out that the button's DOM element on click attribute is actually the event of the button. It's a built-in, yeah, it's a special meaning to React because it's built in. For custom components like square, the naming is up to you. We could have given it any name, on click prop, handle click. Okay, yep. So this, I don't like that name. Let's see. When we try to click the square, we should get an error because we haven't defined. Okay, we're gonna define handle click now. Let's do this. Okay, and what are we doing here? We're getting the squares from the state and breaking them up. Whoops. This dot state dot squares dot slice squares index of I. So we're passing in I. So we're gonna get from that array there the squares, and that's going to equal X. And then this dot set state what are we doing here? Squares. Guess we're overriding the existing squares with the new squares. You know, I just looked at this word squares and it just looks funny to me. It just looks weird. I don't know what it is. That word just looks funny to me now. I've looked at it too many times. Now it just looks strange. Solitude TV. I get that all the time. Yeah, that can't be right. Okay. So we have this handle click. We're setting the state. And so when we call set state, it's going to call this render method again. And redraw every single board. It's going to redraw this entire thing. Games make. Write it in another language. Well, I don't have my Japanese keyboard installed. This is my new machine I just recently got, and I don't have it completely set up 100%. Otherwise, I would just name it in Japanese. Okay, so we're going to call set state. Oh, I misspelled that. Why didn't y'all tell me I misspelled that? There we go. We call set state here. That's going to cause render to redraw, which is going to re-render all of this and call render square again, which is going to re-render. Oh my god, that's a lot. Dan, dude, what's in your water? Square randomly starting to look funny to you. It is. It is. The more I stare at it, the funnier it looks. Okay. Let's click. Well, so it's still working. So that's a good thing. So I can click on this square here. I can see the value down here. New prop, on click. I'll click rendered by board game. Okay. You will get a bug. Let's see. Most likely. But this is, man, this is mental gymnastics. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot going on here for handling a click event and trying to manage the state. So now, okay, so now it looks like we're using these numbers as an index. That's what these numbers are for now. They're being used to represent the index of the location of that square on the board. Okay, got it. Yeah, call slice because we create a copy of the squares array to modify instead of modifying the existing array. Why immutability is important? Oh my gosh. So let's talk about how we're managing our data. Mutable or immutable? Oh, it looks like my my internet speeds might be down. I didn't want to, I just wanted a speed test. Nope. Down is good. Why is my kilobits per second dropping? My up is good too. Interesting. I have no idea why my internet, my kilobits were dropping there a little bit. Okay, generally two approaches to changing data. The first approach is to mutate the data by directly changing the data's values. The second approach is to replace the data with a new copy which has the desired changes. Data with mutation. So we create a player, give it some properties, change the score. Yep, totally understand it. Data change without mutation. Okay, basically copy it over. Make changes. Well, that's weird. This is the this is like an active record pattern. It's kind of what this reminds me of. This reminds me of the active record pattern. If you're a .NET developer and you've ever used CSLA, this reminds me of kind of how CSLA works. When you create a new object, it copies all the values over into a new one and you can modify that. Or if you save the object, you'll say like person.save. Well, that person.save returns a new instance of that object with all the updated values. So it kind of reminds me of that. If you're using the object spread syntax proposal, you could write, yeah, okay. Complex features become simple. Yeah, right. I'm looking at the code we had to write for this. A lot of mental gymnastics to jump through here. And I don't know if... I could just imagine if you're writing like a real production React application, you probably have to completely change the way you think about writing web apps, don't you? I could see that. I could see where this will be very painful just getting started until you can change your mindset a little bit. Doc 27, yeah, regarding TypeScript. Personally, I think introducing and learning your tech stack one component at a time is the best approach. Get comfortable with React and ES 2016 plus. Yeah. I don't know. I can kind of see where you're going with that. But the other side of that is I want to be comfortable. I'm comfortable in TypeScript because I am a desktop guy. And TypeScript is the closest thing to C# I got. I mean, I'm writing JavaScript and it kind of makes me want to throw it in my mouth a little bit. I have a bucket right here next to me just in case. Yeah. Being a C# dev, TypeScript's just going to feel more natural. So it might make more sense for me, coming from C# to learn React if I don't have to go through that step of learning that crazy JavaScript stuff. Okay, so Immutability. Allows us to Tic-Tac-Toe history, jump back to previous moves. Okay. A dog to lick it up. I do have a dog, as she would probably look at my puke. For sure. Avoiding direct data manipulation lets us keep previous versions of the game's history intact and reuse them later. So detecting changes in immutable objects is difficult because they are modified directly. This detection requires the immutable object to be compared to previous copies of itself and the entire object tree to be traversed. That would suck. Detecting changes in immutable objects is considerably easier. If the immutable object that is being referenced is different than the previous one, the object has changed. I can see that. Just compare one instance to another, and if they're different, then something changed. You may not know what it is, but it changed. Determining when to re-render in React. The main benefit of immutability is that it helps you build pure components in React. Whatever that means. Immutable data can easily determine if changes have been made, which helps to determine when a component requires re-rendering. You can read more about should component update. Okay, I'm not worried about that right now. Function components. Oh, okay, here we go. In React, function components are a simpler way to write components that only contain a render method and don't have their own state. Instead of defining a class which extends React.component, we can write a function that takes props as input and returns what should be rendered. Function components are less tedious to write than classes, and many components can be expressed this way. Replace the square class with this function. Okay. So, are they trying to say there's two different types of components? You have this base component, React.component, and you have a function component. Which a function component doesn't look like it's anything special. Actually, it looks like it's just kind of like JavaScript. It's just JavaScript that returns HTML. JR Gold. I would ignore class components entirely at this point. Really? Solidude TV, yeah, you can subclass or just write the function. With hooks, function components are first class. Okay, so let's delete square. And we'll call function. Whoops, if I can spell. Square. Props. So now this is a pure JavaScript function that we're going to return. We're going to return the same thing we just had. I should have just copied it. That's all right. The more I type, the better I'll get it. On click. Ah, but look, but now I don't have to do that. Oh, what's it called? It's C# the anonymous delegate arrow thing. Props up value. Okay. So we have changed this dot props to props both times. Yeah. It's not this dot props because we're no longer inside. Yes. Yes, Solidude Lambda. It's not this dot props because we're no longer inside of a class component. Right? We're not in a class, so there's no props property. So it's not this dot props. We're inside of a function which we're passing in the props, which means we no longer say this dot props, we just say props. Got it. Lock that away. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. We don't have to do this anymore. The lambda. To a shorter unclick. Note the lack of the parentheses on both sides. Yes. Okay, taking turns. We now need to fix Actually, let me... Does this still work? Okay, still works. Okay, I didn't break anything. That's good. So if you don't have state, if you're not using state, then you most likely can just use a function, it looks like. It's kind of what it looks like. Is that a good rule of thumb? Like if you don't need state or something special, just use a function instead? Oh, you can always use functions now. You just use react.useState. Huh. Okay, let's continue. We now need to fix an obvious defect in a tic-tac-toe game. Yeah, we can't do O's right now. They're all X's right here. So we're probably going to modify this method here. We'll set the first move to be X by default. We can set this default by modifying the initial state in our board constructor. Okay, board constructor. Looks like we have an is X is next. Okay, and then we're probably going to modify this. This says if X is next, this, else it's going to be true or something like that, as I'm assuming. So each time a player moves, X is next, it's a Boolean, will be flipped. Okay, so yeah, we're going to have to flip that. Probably after we set the state, we would say X is next equals, no, not equals, this JavaScript is next. Is it this? No, not this. Hold on. Oh wait, there's a code right there. Oh my gosh, just look at it, Brian. Just read. I'm just, it's right there in front of me. Yeah, right here. Right here. We'll start here. All right. This dot state as X is next. X. Oh, capitalize that. X. O. Yeah. Okay. Now this dot set state. Oh. And then X is next. I had the right thought process. I just didn't put it in the right spot for sure. This.state.x is next. Yeah, so this is easy. We're just saying, hey, if X is next, do X. If it's not, we're doing O. And then we're going to set the state for the squares because we have to update our squares based on what I just selected, right? And then we have to update the X is next property in the state as well. We just have to, oh, what's that? Cubu23, thanks for the follow. Thanks for joining. We're writing a React app. I'm trying to learn React. All right, so you just have to always remember to update your state. Okay, so with this change, X's and O's can take turns. Let's try. X and O, X and O, X and O, X and O, X. Perfect. Ah, wait a minute. I can change it. I can cheat. You see that? I can cheat. We're probably gonna have to do a check. Right? If the square already has an X or an O, then you can't change it again. It's set. Let's also change the status text in the board's render so that it displays which player has the next turn. Okay, so that, I think that was down here, right? Yep, next player. Right here. Let's go this dot state dot X is next. Oh, that's the same thing we just wrote. We just wrote that. Next player? Oh, yep. Got it. But I can still change that. That's funny. Okay. yes, I think we're all up to date now. Declaring a winner. Okay. This is the fun part. Now that we show which player's turn is next, we should also show when the game is won and there are no more turns to make. Copy this helper function and paste it in at the end of the file. Why would I don't want to paste it. I'm going to type it because I want to know what's going on. Calculate winner. So it looks like we pass in our squares. Excuse me. Okay. And then lines. So it looks like we have an array. What are these lines representing? Let's read before I type this. Given an array of 9 squares, this function will check for a winner and return. Okay. Okay. They don't explain what this code is doing, really? Just copy and paste this. Okay, we'll copy and paste that because I'm not typing that. I can read that. Okay. So we have lines. Yeah, let's just type it. I'm lazy. The arrays are states that represent winning tic-tac-toe states for a player. What's it? Shift off if. There we go. So if I'm looking through these lines, for x is equal to 0, line.length I++. So we're looping through each line, right? So purple pineapples, if those indexes in the array are the same, it's a win for a player. Oh, so you're saying this is the winning matrix. That's what this is. The lines is the winning matrix. Got it. Yes, Doc 27. The array is just listing all the combinations of array indices and squares that form a complete line. Got it. And so we loop through those lines and we're checking out the, we're comparing the squares with this array here. And if we get a match, then we have a winner. Got it. Got it. Okay. So here, check for players 1. If players 1, we can display text such as winner X for winner O. We'll replace the status declaration board to render function with this code. Where's the board? Okay. So we're replacing this line here with this. So if I read this, we're getting the winner. So we're calculating the winner, passing in the squares. That's in the state. We're defining a variable here called status. So let status. So if we have a winner, then the winner is winner. Otherwise, next player. And this is what we wrote just a second ago. We're just reusing that line of code. Okay, that makes sense. That's easy. Let's save that. Oh, I guess I should try to win. Winner X. Okay. We've now have a working tic-tac-toe game. Adding time travel. Go back in time to previous moves. I don't know if I want to do that. That's just logic. That's not going to really teach me anything different. One thing I do want to fix is I'm going to make sure they're not addressing this. I don't think they addressed the fact that you can change. See that? That shouldn't be possible. I shouldn't be able to do that. Render function uses most. Yeah, I don't care about history. Showing past moves. Okay, I don't care about that either. Picking a key. Implementing time travel. No, I don't care about time travel. I think that's going to be good for now. Let's, I'm going to do a little of my own on this handle click. Right? Dr. 20, writing the most efficient tic-tac-toe win condition check is an interesting puzzle. And a puzzle I do not want to solve. That is not my area of expertise by a long shot. Right? Okay. So we have our squares. Crap, this is JavaScript. Oh, I hate JavaScript. All I want to say, if squares index of I is not null. Now I know. Is it that? There's something. Do I have console in here? Console.log? Yes, I do. Let's see what happens. Where's my console? Nope, 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 nope. That's not it. Oh, squares of 1. Thank you, purple pineapples. Square of I. But I can still, oh yeah, because I'm not, I just wanted to test that. Okay, so that hit. Okay, that worked. So now, okay, JavaScript. Think, Brian, JavaScript. Can you just do this to get out of a function in JavaScript? Yes, you can! Sweet! I tell you, man, coming from the desktop, JavaScript sucks. But I'm glad that worked. And I only remember this because of my past experience with JavaScript. Okay, so we fixed that problem that they didn't even address in their tutorial. Punks. Not bad. Cubo23, why? I love JavaScript. You must love having needles poked in your eyes as well. Or having your fingernails ripped off one by one. Okay, well, I will call this a successful day. I wrote my very first React application. Yes. Lemons PT. Not equal null question mark. Nah, let me just check if this orange is not an elephant too. Exactly. Actually, I don't even know if that would work properly. Oh, it does. But there's a scenario where you have to do this. I forgot what it was though. I'm sure someone is. Why is this again? Oh, that's right. This requires the data types to be the same. Yes. Yeah, the extra, this is the... Gotcha. So in this case, we don't need it. In this specific case, because null, this just has to be an object, right? This specific case, it doesn't have to be... But if that was like a Boolean, then you would definitely want the extra one there. You would want to make sure you're not a Boolean with a string or something like that. Yeah, like this. Okay, so in this case, we can do that. All right, let me maximize this, and I just kind of want to go through this again. They never explained this part, right? I'll have to really read through this because I know it's mentioned if you're doing a spa, you would only have this called one time. So I wouldn't have this on like a whole bunch of different pages. But if I'm not doing a spa, then I would. Like, I don't know. I haven't gotten a navigation or anything like that. So it looks like, for one, React is heavily component-based. Basically, you are returning the HTML you want to render. Inline, right in your JavaScript. There's no HTML file, right? So there's none of that. It's just a JavaScript file, and this is all JavaScript. So I guess when you built this, does it get like minimized and shrunk down and all the spaces removed and all that stuff to keep your stuff small? I'm thinking maybe so. Because it's JavaScript. And so only use a component class. Like this could probably be a function. I'm looking at this. Right? We can change game to a function. Or does it have to be... Okay, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to do an experiment right here. I'm going to look at this that we did here. Function square. Return that. If I did the same thing for game. Right? And let's just copy that in there. If I did the same thing, what the heck? And I should be able to, I'm gonna take that out. And then here, we can't say game, right? We have to call the function. Does it work? Hey, it does. Winner. Sweet. So game is, I saw this and we're not using anything special. Right? We're not using state. We're not using any of that crazy stuff. So this could totally, this is a function now. I made it a function all on my own. Woohoo! I'm feeling accomplished now. Now looking at board, could this be a function? Or maybe we should keep that a class component. That should probably stay a class component. So set state looks like is extremely important when dealing with React components. This is where you're going to store every little thing. So JR Gould could be a function. Just a bit of a refactor. I bet it would be, looking at this. So, if I'm new, this is my very first React thing I've ever written. Going forward, would you recommend always starting with a function and only moving to a component when necessary? Would that be a good, like, kind of rule of thumb for React developers? Like, when you're writing components, start with a function. If you can get away with a function, keep it a function. Otherwise, use a React component. Or should I just use a React component? JR Gould for sure. Yes. Okay. So yes. So start with a function. And only if you can't do something or you need something special, then hop into a React component. Yeah, because instead of using something like we had before, like game, You just change it to call the function and it returns it instead. J.R. Gould, though with hooks now, there aren't a lot of situations where you'll need a component. I haven't got to hooks yet. Maybe on Thursday. Games Make, I recommend looking into the use state hook. Maybe on Thursday, I stream again on Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain. I will move from this and start actually playing with these hooks and learning more about, I got to learn how to navigate, right? I need to learn how these things work in like a real app, not a little simple game. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do next stream. Let's look at hooks. Let's look at navigation. Let's look at handling parameters and all that crazy stuff. It's definitely a different way to write an app. J.R. Gould, thanks for the follow, my friend. JavaScript classes are syntactic sugar over functions. Ah. So is from the web perspective, if I say, you know, is a component heavier compared to just a simple function? I'm assuming so. I'm assuming there's a lot of baggage or overhead that comes with using a React component versus a simple function like this. Yeah, I'm assuming that's the case. And then I'll need to look at this to understand what this is really doing. Because they didn't talk about this at all. And I kind of need to figure out, you know, I just now noticed this has a nodes module just like an Angular application. So Vlad, current opinion, Angular versus React. Well, I don't know much about React yet. From right now, from today, my experience today, I'm still leaning towards Angular. Keeping in mind, I'm a desktop person, coming from WPF, WinForm, C#. When I say file new Angular, it's all TypeScript. It's all very structured. It still uses components. It's easy. It's got a CLI for creating stuff. I could definitely see a lot of hand typing going on here. Is there a CLI for creating components? React CLI? Well, here's a React CLI. React Native. Wait, React Native. What do you mean React Native? Is there a different React? What's this React Native? What the heck is React Native? Oh, I'm using React DOM. Oh my god, there's... Okay, yeah, definitely Angular. Definitely Angular right now. What the heck? React DOM versus React Native. So React DOM must be React JS. Oh, React Native targets mobile. So React JS, I'm assuming this is React DOM, which actually React DOM right there. Right there, yep. Okay. Yeah, React Native targets mobile. Confusing part is that there's React Native... What? React Native Web? Which is React Native with the DOM as a compiling target. Oh my god. Oh yeah, so Angular for sure at this point in time as of today. However, I will also say though, I know there's some reactive extensions for Angular. I used those when I was dealing with the HTTP requests and stuff like that. So I don't know how that relates to React. Right? Sarit, thank you for the follow. Thanks for joining. So reactive extensions, you know what? I bet that's different. I bet reactive extensions is not the same as React. React.js, React Native, native applications using JavaScript. So React.js, in React.js, React is the base abstraction of React DOM for the web platform. With React Native, React is still the base abstraction, but of React Native. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's even more confusing. I'll have to find time to read up on that so I'm more knowledgeable. But React.js / React DOM, successful. Created my first Tic-Tac-Toe game. There's a lot to think about when doing React for sure. You have to really, especially with the way you handle state. Doc 27, JavaScript will eat the world. Oh man, more like puke all over it. With all the dogs walking around licking it up. All the frameworks, that's what it is. That's what it is. JavaScript vomited all over the world, just spewed. And then all the frameworks come along and they try to lap it up into something usable. There it is. The greatest description of JavaScript you've ever heard right here on the Brian Laguna stream. Vlad, that's the point for me. Doing WPF C# daily job. I don't have time to learn always from scratch, so being able to use existing knowledge is very valuable. Guess I need to try Angular. Yes! And that's the really cool thing. That's what I liked about Angular when I was learning Angular. I'm still learning Angular, by the way. And actually, this is a good opportunity. So one thing I've been doing along my journey of learning web is if you go to my YouTube channel, Brian Lagunas.
Hey everyone,
just pause that. So when I learned Angular, I basically relate that from a desktop developer perspective. And I translate your desktop skills into that platform skill. So for example, here's a desktop to web on Angular. Okay. So I have these videos like passing data between components and if switch, transforming data, right? Dependency injection, like all this stuff that you do in desktop, but how it relates to Angular. Well, I'm going to take the same approach with React. As soon as I get comfortable enough React, I'm going to really analyze how this relates to me as a desktop dev. What skills can I take that I already know from like C# and things like that, WPF, XAML HTML, right? And bring that into React, and how can I make that transition? So I'm going to do the same thing for React as soon as I have a grasp on React and its concepts. Right now, I'm confused. I can't lie. So after React, I guess there's React Native as well. And then there's React extensions. And then actually, I don't know if anyone's looked at Flutter, but this same thing right here, set state, this exists in Flutter as well. This is very similar to Flutter, in fact. I would say that React and Flutter are very similar. So if you do React now, Flutter is going to be a breeze for you because it has this render method. I think it's called render. No, it's called build. In Flutter, I think it's called build. You have a build method, and then you do the same thing. You return the UI, except instead of using HTML, you use Dart. And honestly, I would rather use HTML than Dart. Oh my God, trying to read the code for a Flutter app is worse than trying to read JavaScript. That's bad. Now I know they've done a lot of updates on the IDE to try to do some colorization to make it easier to read. I need to take another look because they might have improved that story there. But yes, the concepts in Flutter are very similar to what I'm seeing here in React, where you have a render method versus a build method. You have the set state. I think that's even called the same thing, or change state change, or I don't know. A lot of the same concepts is what I'm getting at. A lot of the same concepts. So if you do React now, you'll probably pick up Flutter. No problemo. No problemo. But awesome. Well, I had a great time today. Oh, games make. I haven't tried TypeScript, but in my opinion, the syntax looks ugly. Are you kidding me? Compared to what JavaScript throws at you, the syntax is structured. Let me put it that way. It's more structured. You don't have all this craziness going on. I like TypeScript because it's easier for me to write and to read. So it may be just where you came from, right? C# dev, it probably makes more sense coming to C#. Excuse me, coming to TypeScript. If you're going to web to use TypeScript because it's going to be more familiar. However, if you've been in web for a while and you've been using JavaScript and you're comfortable with it, then TypeScript will probably be foreign to you because you're not a C# developer and that's not the syntax you're used to. So it just probably depends on which direction you're coming from, right? So my direction, all my learning will be coming from the desktop space. So yeah. All right. Thank you everyone for joining me today and watching me learn React. We will start again on Thursday. I will dive deeper into React and see what else I can learn. I really want to get to navigation because that's important, and parameters and all that stuff. Oh my gosh, I play poker badly. Just got here and ready to learn. I also play poker badly. However, I am ending the stream now. We're done learning for now. You'll have to wait till Thursday to watch me struggle with React. Yeah, you can watch me just fail over and over and over trying to figure out this React stuff. So Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm in Idaho. So whatever part of the world you're in, you'll have to do that translation. I know we had some Brazil and Germany. Or no, yeah, Germany. I thought it was Russia. But great. Thank you very much for joining me today, everyone. I had a great time. And thank you for all your help. You actually helped me a ton. And I will see you next time. Take it easy.